Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us this morning for our third installment of the 2021 Workforce and Retention webinar series. Just want to share my screen really quick with you. Hold on one second. All right, and here we are for the third installment, and today we're featuring Goodwill Industries of Upstate Midlands, South Carolina. And my name is Sonia Barkley, and I am your Small Business Outreach Manager, and I'm also the moderator for today. Wanted to give you my information. It's not forwarding. Hold on one second, please. There you go. Just want to let you know that this webinar is being recorded and all participants are muted and the cameras are off. And we ask that you use the chat feature to submit your questions today, and they will be answered at the end of the presentation when we do have time for our Q&A session. The slides, the recording, and any other additional information will be sent to you via email. And you also get another email with a brief survey. And it's just 3 questions, 2 yes and no questions, and 1 question asking you to list a topic that's important to you. And this will help us tailor future webinars to fit your needs. Right now, we're going to hear from Tammy Green. Tammy is our Business Outreach Program Manager here at Commerce, where she oversees both the Supplier Outreach Program and the Small Business Program.
Good morning, and thank you, Sonia. Again, I'm Tammy Green, and as Sonia mentioned, I oversee both the Small Business and Supplier Outreach Programs at the South Carolina Department of Commerce. And so the goal of our business outreach team is to provide business opportunities, again, that create new relationships and strengthening those existing ones. Our team does that by offering networking opportunities. We also offer referrals to agency partners. We offer direct customized assistance, and we also provide access to tools. So today we're offering access to workforce tools. As Sonia mentioned, this is the third in a series of 7 webinars designed to educate small businesses about additional resources to address the gap in finding talent. If this is your first time attending our workforce webinar series, then welcome. And for those who are returning, welcome back and thank you. We hope that you have found the information from the previous webinars useful and decided to tune back in. So without any other interruptions, I'm going to turn it back over to Sonia, and thank you for participating this morning.
Thanks so much, Tammy, for the great welcome and explaining the why. Why are we here today? Our next slide, which I'm trying to advance, I want just to give you a snapshot of today and who's on the call, actually. So we have everyone from manufacturing to food service, product servers, machinery and equipment, logistics, and printing as well. And I wanted to move forward. But just to let you know that everyone here that's on here today are all here for workforce initiatives. And it also tells the story of how South Carolina businesses share some of the same needs and concerns when it comes to workforce and retention. You can see we have everyone here from manufacturers to nonprofits joining us today, and there's help out there for you all. Now, your go-to for your staffing needs and any type of workforce needs that you have is still workforce development, it's still SC-DO, still SC Works, and all the other South Carolina programs that offer workforce and retention support. This webinar series that we're putting on for today was designed to introduce other workforce and staffing options that you may not have heard about. And we also want to share any additional information that may help you when managing your staff. Today, we welcome Rachel and Tracy of Goodwill, who will share some great information. I'm going to give you a little introduction to Rachel. Rachel Williams Putman is the Vice President of Mission and People at Goodwill Industries in Upstate Midlands, SC, where she leads her Goodwill in both human resources and workforce development. Rachel's leadership continues to challenge traditional views of human resources, and as the executive leader and sponsor of Greenville's diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, Rachel is known for her willingness and intentionality to embrace inclusion. Her efforts have transformed their Goodwill into an organizational classroom led by executives who promote the freedom to explore and to respectfully recognize the voice of others. Today, DEI is viewed as a tool and resource to ensure operational excellence, stewardship, and mission impact. Rachel is a graduate of Newberry College, where she earned her Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Computer Science. Along with Rachel today, we also have Tracy Bledsoe, who is the Job Connection Manager at Goodwill Industry. She leads her team in helping individuals become independent through training so that they may find employment that can provide for them and their families. Before joining Goodwill, she gained valuable experience in the nonprofit workforce development field, and she also had a successful career as a business consultant. And most recently, she received her business consultant certification from Goodwill International and Business University. The course helped strengthen her abilities to best serve businesses and employers with hiring and engaging potential candidates. Tracy has been instrumental in helping various employers with recruitment, retention, and training, and she works with employers in both the upstate and the Midlands. Thank you both for being here today. Now, to everyone attending the webinar today, you have a great resource for your workforce and staffing needs right here. You have Goodwill on the line. I encourage you to listen, ask questions, and later make appointments to speak with either Rachel or Tracy to discuss how you can take advantage of their programs. So at this time, we're going to turn the webinar over to Rachel so she can tell you more. And I'll stop sharing real quick. Rachel, you can begin.
Good morning, all. I just want to do a mic check to ensure that we're able to hear me.
Yes.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much. Tracy will lead our presentation today. So Tracy, if you would share our screen and pull up and bring our presentation forward. All right.
I can see.
That's it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. So as Sonia mentioned this morning, we're with Goodwill Industry. Our office is headquartered in Greenville, South Carolina. One of the things that we want to bring to the team this morning, or to the attendees this morning, is really to talk about our strategies and our support of employers and job seekers across the upstate in the 16 counties that in which we serve. Next slide, Tracy. You know, as mentioned before, I've been with Goodwill now for 6 years, but I've been leading human resources for more than 25 years. And I really enjoy working on strategy while supporting our leaders, such as Tracy, to execute tactical operations, and as well as to advise me on trends and employer feedback. And so what you will hear today from Tracy and myself is both a bit of strategy and what Goodwill is working on at a national level, as well as at a regional level. And then you'll hear from Tracy how we can best support job seekers and you as employers in addressing staffing needs and talent needs in the very near future. So next slide, Tracy. You know, this work for us begins with our mission statement, and I think it's important for everyone to understand that Goodwill leads in workforce development, but our purpose is really to assist the citizens in the 16 counties in which we serve to become independent, earn livable wages. And you'll hear a bit more about that from Tracy through education and training, which may be a bit different, but that leads to employment. And you'll see some very specific ways in which we do that. So Tracy, next slide. At a national level, one of the strategic initiatives that we have underway is that Goodwill International, as along with the 156 Goodwill headquarters across the US, is working with a number of Fortune 500 companies on an initiative called Rising Together. And that initiative is really intended to place 1 million people back into employment in a post-pandemic environment in a way that accesses sustainable careers within the next 5 years. And I say sustainable careers because this is really beyond getting a job, a better job, and then leading to long-term careers that will sustain the families and to bring economic impact to our communities. There are a number of ways that we're doing that. And again, that is really in areas in which we're trying to upskill and to give better skills development and support to job seekers in ways that will also help provide resources to address a widening skills gap that's really been evident since the pandemic. And then we're looking for holistic workforce services and supports to build that and to address those needs for both the job seeker and employers. Tracy and I will talk about that in greater detail, but at a national level, just remembering and thinking about how do we collectively partner with employers to put 1 million people back to work by 2025. Next slide, Tracy. More locally, as we think about what the work that our Goodwill is doing, our leadership team has worked very hard to develop a 10-year strategy. But inside of that 10-year strategy, we've been very intentional to think about what does the next 3 years look like for Goodwill, and how do we want to position ourselves in the communities in which we work, live, and serve. We've designed a new strategic plan that focuses on, go back, Tracy. Yep, that focuses on 4 unique pillars, and that's mission innovation, service excellence, being an employer of choice, and financial stewardship. For the purposes of today's presentation, Tracy and I will really focus on our mission innovation and how does our mission impact the communities, and what are we doing from a service excellence or a service delivery model to support those who need us most. And the way we do that, next slide, Tracy, is really to talk about our philosophy is very simple. And we think about helping job seekers find a job that leads to a better job through upskills and then supporting their career aspirations. So today we'll focus on 2 key components in which we make this simple statement come alive. And thinking about how do we work with, how do our employment specialists meet with employers and job seekers, and while we are also working with employers to address your very specific needs. And in some instances, when we're thinking about strategy, we're also thinking about sharing our best practices. As a large employer here in the upstate, I have the luxury of having the opportunity to lead both human resources and our external mission. And so when we think about engaging and hiring individuals for our stores and for our career centers, we face the same challenges that most of you on the call do as well. And that is addressing a shortage in the labor market. But when we do find talent, how do we focus on retention? And for us at Goodwill, that means, you know, we start by looking at our own operations. We approach this in three very specific ways. We look at what's vital, what's valuable, and what's very nice. We've identified that during this labor shortage, we have to focus on what's vital. And in some instances, that's resulted in looking at retooling some of our operations, streamlining some of our processes and procedures to be able to address the shortage in labor. We focus on the things that will advance our mission, as well as creating excellence in our operations. And then the things that may be very nice and the nice to do, they usually fall a little bit further in our resource allocation stream. So if there is one thing that I think about in terms of addressing the labor market, would be to work with employers to think about looking at the operation and identifying where there may be opportunities to address what's mission critical. But then from the human resource side, what do we do to engage and attract and retain staff that we have? So that is looking at benefits, that's looking at how do we upskill and create the best place to grow for job seekers. If they see a future and they have a sense of belonging, they are more likely to stay. If they recognize that they have a voice in the direction of the organization, that has proven to be an excellent way to retain highly engaged and qualified staff. The challenge would be we can get it'll be the individual's responsibility to get to work, but if we can get them here, keep them engaged, and create a sense of belonging, that in itself has increased our retention rate for more than 25% in the last 6 months. And that's really as individuals are starting to come back to work. So we have focus groups. We have areas in which we look at work skills and task force that will give job seekers and newly hired associates a voice in our operation. So those are just some of the things that our Goodwill is doing to support and retain our own staff. So there may be areas that you may be able to think about within your organization. On the next slide, Tracy. We have more than 30 offices across across the upstate and Midlands. If you think about our geography, our Goodwill is headquartered again in Greenville. We service, our service territory is from Kershaw County up to Union and Gaffney and down to Seneca. And so we have a third of the state, and with 30 offices available to support both employers and job seekers, we've also had to modify some of our hours, but we do that in a way that, excuse me, job seekers are able to find a hybrid model. They can either work face-to-face with employment specialists, or they can schedule an appointment to work with our employment specialists through Zoom calls and through a virtual platform. And that's really been a way to help support digital skills and preparing job seekers for addressing technology in the workforce. And so at this point, Tracy will take over and she will talk to you all about some of our successes and the things that we're doing in the community to support both employers and job seekers. So I'll turn it over to you, Tracy.
Thank you, Rachel. I appreciate it. She's a hard one to follow, but I'm so honored to be here and be able to share with you guys. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay. So as Rachel said, we serve 16 counties in the upstate and Midlands. And this past year, our program year runs from July 1st through June 30th. So our year just ended. We just started a new one. And our past year, we served over 11,000 job seekers. With that, we placed over 7,700 of those job seekers with an average wage of $13 an hour and working almost 40 hours a week. So we have about a 90% success rate helping our participants find employment with a livable wage. Of course, that's always our goal. On this graph, you can see how many job connections we have in each county, as well as what the starting wage is for those. We serve our participants, and the fact that we are able to help them find employment at a living wage. Some of the services that we offer to our job seekers in our job connections, they have computers available to them. They can use for job searches, applications, copy, fax machines, to send their resumes to employers. We offer resume assistance. So someone can either come in with a resume that they need updating, or we can create them from scratch if that's what they need to do. We offer interview tips, workshops. We host hiring events. So we have employers come into our job connections and actually interview people on the spot that walk in. We promote those. We also know that not everyone that comes through our doors are in the same place in their life as the one previous. So we really strive to meet people where they are. We also have training programs. Again, we offer basic computer classes all the way up to IT classes. So we have a wide range of services that we offer to everyone in our communities in all 16 counties. We try to provide job seekers not just with jobs available to them, but skills that will help them get to that career, right? We can find people a job, but we really want to make sure that we help people find their passion. Some of our biggest industries that we help people find employment in is healthcare, manufacturing, administrative, transportation, and retail. And for us, we cover 4 of those industries just in our Goodwill alone. And they seem to be the biggest leading trend for South Carolina as far as industries go and where people tend to want to go to work. This is how we broke down our placements this past year. So you can see that for each industry, how we placed the majority of individuals that we placed in those trades. Manufacturing positions, over 2,300 of our 11,000 people that we served last year were placed into a manufacturing position. In South Carolina alone, manufacturing and warehouse logistics are our top industries that we serve. Retail and food service wasn't too far behind. We placed over 1,700, and all of these, the majority of these fall within the living wage category. So, because again, we want to make sure that we are serving people to not only get them a job, but to be able to self-sustain and take care of their families. So not only do we serve job seekers, we also serve employers. We work with employers to find qualified candidates. We can do a variety of services. We try to cater those based on the employer and their needs. We can create a flyer, or if you have one, that's fine too. We can post those in our job connections in that area. We host hiring events at, like I said, not only at our job connections, but we can also come on site to you. If you need us, if you need our team to come out and that works better for you, we can do that as well. We can promote those events on our website. We can post them on several of our social media pages. We have LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. We're talking about TikTok. I think we're even on YouTube. So we have really tried to strive and be up with the times and reach people on using the resources that they use. We have some things in the pipeline that will allow us to reach our underserved and unserved residents in our rural communities. So I'm super excited about that. So stay tuned. We also have, we can refer candidates to you. If you send us your job requirements and the things that you're looking for, we can pre-screen those candidates for you. We can help you find the best fit for your needs, whether that's just job skills, education levels. We can have them apply to your open positions, whether that's through a referral system, a paper application, online applications. We can interview them for you. And we can also promote your open positions. And we only share with candidates the information that you're comfortable sharing with job seekers. So if you don't want us to share your wages or the name of your company, you just prefer referrals based on the jobs that you have open, we can do that too. We really try to build the relationships with our job seekers and get to know them so that we're not just sending them to a job. We want people to go to a job that they're going to enjoy and that they're going to want to stay. That's very important to us. Job fairs. Again, we do host job fairs on site as well as we can come to you. We want to make everything a streamlined process and as easy as we possibly can on the employers because we know that your time is valuable. And for us, let us do the hiring for you. Let us pre-screen those candidates so you can focus on the needs of your company and not hiring, because I know right now that can be a challenge. I know for us, including, having people come to work and stay is a challenge in today's world, given the pandemic and everything that we've experienced. So Goodwill is here to help. And most importantly, our services are always 100% free to not only our job seekers, but employers as well. Current events. So this past year that ended in June 30th, we hosted over 500 employers with over 850 hiring events and job fairs. We had over 3,000 job seekers attend those events and placed 2,000 of those into those positions that the employers came with open. And all of those at a self-sustaining livable wage. So again, if this is something that your company needs, all of our services are listed on our website, goodwillsc.org. I can share that with Sonia and she can send it out to everyone, or I can type it in the chat. All of our services are broken down individually on our site, so you can reach out to that specific person. It's not like you're going to have to talk to this person and then they connect you with this person. We try to make it a streamlined process. Some of the services that we offer to our job seekers are training programs. We want to give them the better job, right? We want to upskill them so they're not just getting a job. This is that better job. These have been some of our most successful trainings. Anyone qualifies for these as long as they're willing to put forth the effort and follow through. Some of our newest trainings this year were power line workers and heavy equipment operators, which have gained a lot of success and great interest. Our most popular programs are our CNA program, our Certified Nursing Assistant, as well as our CDL program, our commercial truck driving. Those are in high demand, as well as those are the ones that fit with the labor market currently and what employers tend to need. These are a few of our training partners, and this list seems to be growing very fast because, again, we want to make sure that we are serving everyone in our 16 counties. We don't want to limit our participants or our employers and our partnerships. So these have been some of our best partnerships, and we look forward to working with them more in the future. Another service that we have for employers, our business services department. We just took on our newest project, which was Comfort Care, which is caregivers in homes. So these are contract services. And again, you can find these on our website. We also have a janitorial team that can come into your office daily, or they can do specialty cleaning. We do sanitation, disinfectant, especially with the COVID situation right now. We have sub-assembly, which gives businesses an opportunity to save time and money by outsourcing general operations and freeing up your employees to concentrate on tasks that demand a specialized experience. So some of these could be, we have a warehouse in Anderson, and some companies send us pieces and parts that maybe they just need some rework or some sanding on. We can do those things for you. That can be time consuming, right? And takes away your specialty projects that you have that you don't necessarily have time for. We also have a window cleaning service that is in our Midlands area. They are currently cleaning our schools in Columbia, getting them ready to open for the new school year. And we're super excited to be here and know that Goodwill tries our best to cater to every individual as well as industry. So I thank you so much for your time and look forward to working with you guys, and hope if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you.
Thank you so much, Tracy, and thank you, Rachel, for joining us today. Did anyone have any questions for the ladies before we continue? It looks like you covered a lot of ground and maybe had answered many questions within your presentation, because we didn't have any in the chat box, but we do have some wonderful comments. What a wonderful work-based program y'all offer. That's from Eileen, our RWA. Hi, Eileen. And we always have some information for you. I just wanted to make sure that give everyone an opportunity to ask a question if you have any. All righty. Well, hold on one second. I just want to share my screen for a sec. Just want to thank the ladies for joining us today. And we do have another webinar coming up, and I will certainly share that information once it's available, because I do have everyone's email address. And we have another workforce and retention webinar coming up on September 22nd from 11 to 12. And there we will be featuring the South Carolina Vocational Rehabilitation Department. They have services for businesses as well that will be able to assist you at this time. So if there are no questions, we will go ahead and end today's webinar. And if you do have any questions or anything afterwards that you think of, please feel free to reach out to me or reach out to Rachel or Tracy, and we will certainly make sure that we answer your questions and point you in the right direction.
I think we do have a question in the chat.
Oh, okay. Okay, from Diane. She's asking, any other challenges that employers face when hiring or retaining high quality employees?
As an employer, I know for sure that we've worked with some employers to identify, to address backgrounds and pre-hire drug screening. Some employers have had to address that to really focus on safety sensitive roles to attract talent. But then when they hire the talent, how do we retain and develop that talent? And I think a lot of that has been around the quality of the work environment, and wages is often one of the first things that employers will address. But the reality of it is, as an employer, I recognize that a lot of the retention has to be around creating a sense of value and individuals having an opportunity to grow and to develop within an organization. I think that's been the greatest retention tool that we've been able to assist other employers with. But we've also are members of a Mid-Atlantic coalition of Goodwills, and there's about 16 other Goodwills that we routinely work with, and we have quarterly meetings to determine best practices, and most of them are sharing the same concerns of how do we harness the talent, and particularly at a time now that the individuals who are seeking employment are generally those that are really wanting to come to work. And so when you get those first round of job seekers coming in and you recognize that they're fitting with your organization, working with them very closely, even on the frontline level, to making sure that they have that opportunity to be engaged. And that's really around the inclusion part of what we focus on with diversity, equity, and inclusion, is making sure individuals have that opportunity, that equitable opportunity, and feeling included in your work processes.
Great, that's a great response. And there's a lot of things we do have to pay attention to. I know as far as in the small business area, when I do receive calls or do receive any type of inquiries surrounding workforce, it usually tends to not only talk about the pay rate and the wages, but also the culture, what kind of culture is cultivated at the workplace. And it does make a big difference, I think, and it does play into the part as far as retaining employees. I thank you ladies both for joining us today. And for all others that are on the call, we will send you a copy of today's webinar along with any type of attachments that we have. And I did mention earlier that we do have another webinar coming up next month. These are monthly, and I'll certainly share the flyer with you for that as well. And we do have a cybersecurity summit, which is something that is off the path right now for workforce, but something that's very important to our small businesses, to make sure you have the cybersecurity parameters and everything in place for you, for your business. So that'll be on September 1st. But all of this information will be shared with you. Thank you so much for joining us today. This concludes our webinar, and we thank you. And we just ask that you look for a short survey and the webinar recordings and attachments coming to your mailbox soon. Thanks again for joining us today. Have a great week.